One of the great things about jazz chords is that you can improvise with them, and that means that if you learn even just a few basic jazz chords, then you can open them up and add things to them in ways that sound really great. This video will teach you 2 simple but important chord exercises and show you how you can turn that into beautiful harmony. And I'm going to use some real songs to demonstrate it because you need those as well. My name is Jens Larsen. Learn jazz, make music. I'm going to build this on Shell-voicings, which is a very solid set of chords to learn because you can turn them into a lot of other things along the way, which you will also see in the video. A shell-voicing is a way of covering the basic sound of a chord by playing the root, the third, and the 7th. Instead of just practicing chords separately, then it makes a lot more sense to practice them together in the groups where you need them. For example, as the diatonic chords of a major scale. Here's the diatonic shell-voicings of C major with the root on the 5th string. And you also want to know the shell-voicings with the root on the 6th string. So here are the F major shell-voicings with that root. When you're practicing exercises like this, then you are of course learning a lot about the keys and the scales, but you're also really developing your fretboard knowledge. Already with these chords you can play most songs, so let's try that on the standard Ladybird. This will also show you some of the rhythms that are of course also important to comping jazz. I'll start with the basic chords and then change things up by adding a few more melody notes and make it a little bit more interesting in the second half. So as you can tell, the rhythms are what holds this together, and you can add a little bit of extra movement by using different top note melodies over the chords. Just grab whatever is easy to get in there, what works and what is practical. So for the C major 7, the basic voicing has E in the melody. We can add the 5th or the G, or the 13th or 6th, which is the A. It's really just about finding what's easy to grab and what you can work with, what sounds good on the chord, and then start making melodies. Instead of changing the rhythms and the melodies, you can of course also focus on the bass lines. And with the shell-voicings, there are only 3 notes, so you can easily get into adding a complete walking bass under the chords, which is a great sound on guitar. You probably never thought about this, but this actually sounds a lot better on guitar than on piano. And later in the video, I'm going to give you another thing that's a lot easier and a lot more efficient on guitar. I love the sound of walking bass and chords, and it's great for comping in a duo setting because you're laying down a complete groove. But sometimes it's also nice to interact a bit more with the soloist and not play a steady stream of quarter notes. Luckily, shell-voicings are sort of naturally split into 2 layers, so you have a root and a chord. And you can use these 2 layers to improvise with, similar to how a jazz drummer improvises with a snare and a bass drum. Another great way to use the 2-layer nature of the shell-voicings is to play sambas and bossanovas. An example of this could be blue bossa that you can play as a samba like this. Sambas and Bossanovas are really great because they are developed on guitar and they have become sort of a standard part of the jazz vocabulary when it comes to the grooves that we use. If you want to check out some more Bossa Nova and Samba patterns, then I have a video on that which you can check out. There's a link in the description. When it comes to chords, then most things are easier on piano than on guitar, and you can get away with a lot of things. Among other things, you can play a lot more notes if you want to. But there's one thing that's really practical about guitar chords. We can shift them up and down in half steps, which is really a great sound when it comes to comping jazz. You can put this to use on a song like There's No Greater Love, like this. If you want to level up your comping and explore some more ways that you can use these Shell-voicings, then check out this video that's also covering a few simple exercises and then showing you how you can get some great sounds on top of 5 famous jazz standards.